crazy. Yeah, man. Thank you.
Yeah, man. No worries.
Next, right? I heard of Red X, right? Do you need to be a licensed agent to get access to it, or anybody could get access to Red X?
No, anybody could get access to it. Now there's a huge advantage if you are a licensed agent because they have an awesome expired listings. They're really good with their expired. So like that's a bonus. So like you could go after the pre-foreclosures auctions and you could hit expireds too. They have a good expired list.
So why Red X versus PropStream? Why Red X versus the MLS? I'm just curious.
Yeah. It's all personal opinion. It's all what exactly you like better. I like PropStream because I'm more on the investment end. You know, I don't do like, I'm a licensed agent. I'm licensed with EXP, but I don't list and sell properties. I just focus on short sales and investing. So for me, I like PropStream because it's tailored to investors, right? I could easily pull pre-foreclosure lists, auction lists super easily. I could go back into like the fail, you know what I'm saying? Go back in the archives. It's got property data, but that's all at your discretion.
I got you. Have you have experience using Red X? Is it like really like legit? Like is they data kind of like up to date and all?
I haven't used Red X in a couple of years. When I was using it was when I first jumped in the business. I was a realtor in Philly. We actually might have met when I was a realtor in Philly, which to be honest, I don't.
We probably
I think we did, but whatever. But yeah, I was using it because I was cold calling pre-foreclosures to get those listings. And then at the same time, I was pulling expireds and it was all under one roof.
Okay. I
see. For me, it made sense, but you got to see what makes sense for you.
Anybody
else? Yeah, go ahead, Sean.
So quick question. So in regard to Red X, did you ever, and I understand, you've been using PropStream for the last couple of years. Did you ever do a comparison of the expireds from Red X as opposed to the expireds that we could call up with PropStream? Or are they pretty much virtually the same? Or never? Okay, never did.
Never did a comparison, but I would have to say I would put my money on, if I did do that, I would put my money on Red X because they actually do the work for you with the expireds, whereas PropStream, you kind of have to go in and you have to filter it yourself. You know what I mean? I think Red X is more suited to that. I think they have a better expired product, in my opinion.
Okay. Because that's, we prospect expireds as well. And, that's one thing that we're going to be digging into again. So since the Red X came up, that's why I asked.
My brother's a realtor in Pittsburgh and he prefers Red X for the expired. So that's coming from like a realtor. So, who like constantly calls expired. So, I mean.
Yeah, it's good at least to discuss it, when, I'm going to be working on generating some new lists with our list manager. And so expires is going to be one of them. So,
yeah. So guys, I don't want to get sidetracked on that point though. Does anyone have questions on why you need to pull two separate lists or why I highly suggest it? Is everybody clear on that? Pulling an NOD list and then pulling an auction list separately. Is everybody clear on that? Yeah. Okay. All right. Another thing that's working wonders for me, which I always preach about like a broken record, mortgage modifications. There is gold in mortgage modifications. I cannot say it enough. So a mortgage modification is someone who's behind on their mortgage. They're struggling to pay the bank, but they don't want to sell their property to you. They want to keep their property and stay in their house. A lot of times it's people who live in the property as a primary residence. They raise their family there. They have an emotional attachment and they want to keep their property. So the bank allows them to apply for a mortgage mod. This process includes them sending the bank all of their financials, how much money they're making, pay stubs, bank statements, tax returns, everything. The bank gathers that information, reads everything over, and then they determine whether or not they can stay in their property, even though they're facing foreclosure. If they do let them stay in, they're going to reinstate their loan and they're going to give them, a new monthly payment, different loan terms, all that stuff. So that's what the basis of a mortgage modification is. The harsh reality of a mortgage modification is that a very high percentage get declined from the bank because the bank knows you're not paying them. And unless you could prove to the bank, hey, my financial situation is way better, unless you could prove that to them, unfortunately, they're going to say, nope, sorry, we are denying your mortgage reinstatement. So the point I'm getting at here is your competition, when they're having their VAs cold call, or when they're cold calling or mailing or whatever, they're hitting these pre-foreclosure lists. When a homeowner gets on the phone and tells an investor that they want to keep their house and they don't want to sell, what's the investor doing? Hanging up the phone. Okay, no problem. That's a dead lead. On to the next one. No one is following up with these leads. This is not a dead lead. A mortgage modification lead is a very live lead. Because so many get declined, what you're going to do is, instead of hanging up the phone on them and treating it as a dead lead, build rapport, stay on the call, build rapport, wish them luck with the modification. Okay, Mr. Seller, no problem. I totally understand you want to keep your property. Listen, I know how long mortgage modifications take. They take months and months to complete. I'm going to keep in touch with you throughout that process, just to check in, make sure you don't need anything on my end. And, if it doesn't work out, I'm happy to be a plan B. Boom, that's it. And then put them in your CRM. And once every 3 weeks, you're going to follow up. You're going to touch those leads. First off, I promise you no one's doing this. Second off, there is absolute gold. I get deals all the time from doing this, because guess what? No one else is following up with them. There's 20 other investors that called them and they hung up the phone faster than they could even finish the sentence of, then I don't want to sell, I'm keeping my house. They hung up the phone on them. But you're different, because you stayed on the phone. You didn't try to convince them. Do not convince them to sell. Do not do that. Don't try to give them a sales pitch and say, no, don't keep your house. You need to sell. Don't do that. Just be chill. Okay, no problem. Listen, I hope it works out for you. I'm going to keep in touch with you throughout the process. Check in if you need anything. What's going to happen is this. Mortgage modifications take forever. So throughout months and months, they're going to get used to seeing your name pop up on their phone, just to simply check in and make sure everything's going smooth for them. When the day comes, if that modification gets declined by the bank and they have to sell their property, you are going to be the investor they sell it to, or the agent they list it with if you're trying to get a listing, whatever you're trying to do. Because you built rapport and they appreciate that you didn't force them into selling and that you simply stayed in contact. It's a long,
Awesome.
yeah, go ahead.
That's awesome. I have a lender / investor who is in several states, mostly West Coast. Anyway, he's asked me to find these pre-foreclosures, and if they don't want to sell, he will actually buy the property, give them something for their equity, and let them lease option their own property. So he gives them a chance to lease the property with an option to basically buy it from him.
Yeah, I'm actually offering a lot of lease options now. I think lease options are going to come back pretty strong. So yeah. I like that idea too.
Yeah, but they do stay in their house, which is what you just said is very attractive. For sure.
I mean, that's a different kind of strategy. What you're talking about is actually striking a deal with them, like a lease option. A mortgage mod is when, you're hitting that pre-foreclosure list and the seller, they're not interested in lease and option. They're not interested in anything. They are dead set on keeping their property and saving their home from foreclosure.
Right.
In those situations, what's going to happen, guys, too, is especially if you plan on aggressively going after a lot of pre-foreclosures, you're going to build a pipeline of these mortgage modification leads over time. And then, like I said, it's a long play, but before you know it, they're going to start trickling in as leads. And one important thing too, I'm going to tell you that I don't have on the slide, I forgot to put it on. a lot of the times as you're going to have that initial conversation with them. As you're following up, they're not going to answer the phone. Okay. They don't need to talk to you every second. A lot of times when you call them once every 3 weeks, they're not going to answer. It's very crucial. You leave a voicemail, not a, crazy novel voicemail. Don't get like a crazy ex-girlfriend on them, but a short, friendly voicemail, just that, hey, it's Bob here, just checking in, seeing how the mod's coming along, and text them. Because what's going to happen is over time, even though they're not answering your calls, they're going to get used to seeing you and your number pop up. Hey, it's Bob here. They're going to get used to hearing your voice and voicemail, and they're going to get used to you texting them. So even if they're not answering you, make sure you're texting and leaving voicemails once every 3 weeks.
I got a question. The loan mod that fails, is there any public notice of that, or how would we know that unless we kept in touch with the homeowner?
I get that question every single time. I wish, and I say the same answer, if anyone could find a list of mortgage modifications, I will buy it from you. Please let me know. But it's illegal for the bank to share that info. They can't, like if I was facing foreclosure and I had to apply for a mod, they can't release that info. So no.
Okay, thanks.
You know what? That's a great question because it actually creates opportunity, because it's a lot harder to build a mod list, but because you're doing it from scratch by yourself, there's way less competition. There's way less competitors reaching out to them.
So Bob, and to everybody, anyone else is listening. I'm just now starting to learn about the short sale and the topic we actually talking about. So I'm actually like also a public notary. So I normally get work with title companies, and I normally go to people's house and stuff like that at the closing, and I normally do a lot of those loan modification. And I really never bothered thinking about it, thinking like it's actually a lead. I just never thought about it. How do you, like a guy like myself who's in that position, how do you bother? I'm actually wearing the notary hat at the moment, right? How do you make up the switch and say, hey,
You mean from the notary situation?
Yeah, I'm actually a notary, and I normally do a lot of those loan mod.
You do?
Yeah,
Wow.
I normally do, yes.
Beautiful. Then you explain to them, hey, look, I'm only a notary. I do this as a side business, but my main business is being a licensed real estate agent. And I actually specialize in helping people that are, facing foreclosure or that kind of niche. You explain to them that's your niche, and do the same script I just told you, but from a notary. Look, I'm going to touch base with you. I have your phone number now. Listen, I'll touch base with you every once in a while. I'll drop in, see how it's coming along. You could even make a joke about it, about how long they take. Like, listen, these things are gruesome. I get it. While you're going through it, I'm going to drop in, see how everything's coming along. And, just in case you have to sell, I'll be here to help you as a plan B. They're not going to say no to that because you're being passive. You're not being aggressive.
So, but I thought after everything is set, it's said and done, the bank is actually already accepted to do the loan modification. Why would they need you, or do they even need you? Because the people that I do is the people that the bank approve it. If that makes sense.
You're getting when they approve it?
Yeah, that's the ones that I normally.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, there's probably nothing you could do then if they, if they already approved the loan modification. Yeah, I'm talking about when they're going through the application. But here's a little thing too. Just because a bank approves it doesn't mean it's over. The game's not over yet. So what happens is when the bank approves a loan modification, they put the homeowner through what's called a trial period, a trial modification period. That they give them 90 days. In that trial period, they get 90 days to make sure they're paying their loan. So what happens is with some people is on paper, they're able to get approved and they miss a payment during that 90-day period. And if that happens, then they're done. The bank will not give them a second chance. So,
I see.
you know,
Yeah.
Bingo.
Edwidge, I'd be careful about that because the only reason you've got that information at that point is because you've been contracted by that lender. I'd be very careful of doing too much with that information. It might have an effect on you getting notary work from them. I would just be very careful of that.
Because that's a
I'm a
conflict of
notary,
interest.
and I'm a loan signer myself.
that's a
Okay.
fair point. That's a fair
I'd just be very careful of that.
Okay, yeah.
point. Yeah, yeah, definitely don't be too aggressive. I mean, do you have any pointers you could give him on how he could word it so that he won't get in trouble from the bank?
I don't. It just, when I heard him talking about it, I'm like, the only reason he's got this information is
Yeah.
because he's being contacted by the lender. And notary's supposed to protect that information. Bob, you're a lawyer. You're not giving out your client information to anybody.
I'm not
Right,
a lawyer,
right.
but I'm saying if I was, yeah.
That is
You know,
true.
so I would just be very careful of that. I mean, you got to really think that out and maybe check with some other
Check
other
with an
people that
attorney.
are notaries that do some investment, because I just wouldn't want to get you to get yourself in trouble. You
Facts.
might have, they might end up saying something to the lender. And then
That
the
is
lender
true.
is gonna, get really upset with you.
Keith has a good point there, yeah.
that.
Yeah, definitely something to think about. Keith has a good point, yeah. Maybe it's the way you could word it, like just like be, don't be pushy about it. I don't know though. Yeah, you definitely want to think about that, but plus it might not be worth the risk if they're already got the modification approved. But I mean, listen, if you could feel them out and if they don't seem confident that they're going to be able to make that 90-day trial period, then maybe it's worth a shot. So something to think about.
I got you. Yeah, I mean, just read the room, read the vibe.
Yeah.
Build rapport.
That's what I would do, is just read the vibe. Yeah. Anybody have any questions or anything on setting up the mods?
I do.
Yeah.
Well, I had typed it in the chat room. Based on your touch every 3 weeks, I thought one of the reasons why I jump on this call with you, because you've been like following up. You really good at following up. Like you call once in a while. I'm like, man, this guy was Bub. He's
That's annoying as shit.
No,
professionalism.
actually, I'm like, he's good. I'm like, nah, bro, I don't got no lead. But I'm like, how does he do? How do you do it? And you actually have specific times and date to do, and you really good at what you do. So what CM what CRM are you using to just kind of like keep the data that that you spoke with Edwidge 3 weeks ago? And
I keep it simple, man. I'd like other people to chime in because that's a great question. We should share what CRMs we're using. I just use Podio. I've been using Podio for a couple of years, and a lot of people say they grow out of it and they can't do what they want. And like, maybe I'll get to that point eventually where I just have to move on, but Podio is cool with me right now. I mean, I just use Podio. That's it.
Yeah, I use Freedom Soft.
Freedom Soft, Ted?
Yeah.
Okay.
so they just tell you what to
Yeah,
follow up
just
with this person?
Write all
Yeah.
these down. Yeah. Podio, Freedom Soft, and then just see which one you like better.
In
Does
Freedom
anybody else
Soft,
have another one?
you just set a task with a date, and then you'll get an alert on your screen.
Yeah.
And it's contact this person again.
Does anybody else have another CRM you could try?
Again, Podio can be just for real estate, and a lot of investors use it.
Yeah.
For Edwidge, the CRM actually that we're in the process of moving to, RE Simply, SIMPLI.com. It was recommended to us by one of our coaches, and it's very powerful, especially for the follow-up.
Okay.
So you may want to check into that as well.
Scott uses Excel. That's interesting. So Scott, does Excel notify you when you have to contact a lead? How does that work?
Actually, you could do that in Outlook too.
Okay. Okay, interesting. I've never heard of that. So could you write notes though? Like, okay, like I spoke with John at 123 Main Street and we had this long conversation. Is it good for that?
With Outlook, yes.
Okay.
Basically set up a meeting request for 3 weeks from today and put the notes into the calendar.
Okay. Yeah, and Scott said, yeah, he said use the calendar and Outlook. Okay. Yeah. So Edwidge, that's another option for you.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah. Is anybody else on the modifications? Follow up, setting up the system, anything like that? Does it make sense? Like, does it like why it would be so powerful to build a
Loan
pipeline?
mod lists. Yep,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, as a team, we were looking at, in our network, we have a relationship with a loan mod specialist, but, from an investor's standpoint, a little bit different tact, if we're working a deal and, it's a pre-foreclosure deal and they do want to sell, one of the strategies that we're using is in order to make the deal better for us and help them out is that we'll pay our loan mod specialist to do the loan mod, and then we'll purchase the property, with better numbers
Got it.
since they,
Oh yeah. Okay. Purchase it after the loan mod. Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
That's cool.
I may
Okay.
have missed something, but how do you find these modifications?
You gotta build the list yourself. So
Okay,
as you're prospecting to pre-foreclosure list, a lot of the people are going to tell you that they do not want to sell and that they want to stay in their home. Instead of hanging up the phone like 99.9% of your competition is doing, stay on, build good rapport with them, wish them luck, and then just keep that conversation going for months. Put them in your CRM, touch them once every 3 weeks, and then eventually, because it's a numbers game, let's say 50% of them get declined, they're going to sell to you. They're going to want to do business with you because, you weren't forcing them to sell and you constantly kept your brand in front of them the whole time.
yeah, and you can send them a business card or whatever, a
Sure.
flyer.
Sure. You could do that. I personally don't do that, but that's not a bad idea at all.
Because it's something in their hand and they say, oh, I got something.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. All right, here's another one that I want to share with you guys. I love this one too. I don't love it as much as the mods. I love the mods, but this is a really cool one. So reach out to failed short sale listings. All right. When the pandemic hit at the end of 2019, there was a lot of people. Now, you guys are in different markets here, right? We're all spread across different markets. So this applies to some markets more than others, but overall in the US, there was a bunch of people that listed their house on the MLS with realtors that were either in pre-foreclosure or had to do a short sale. They were facing foreclosure, they had to sell. As we all can remember, 2020 hits, COVID hits, and then all of a sudden, the government puts a stop to all foreclosures. When this happened, all those homeowners, of course, they took their properties off the MLS because they're not facing foreclosure anymore. Those people that were listing at the beginning of the pandemic before it hit, most of them are not in a better financial situation than they are now. It's just a harsh reality. It is what it is. It's just the truth. So now no one's touching those people. Even though it's 2 years ago, it's far back. Now that moratoriums are just starting to, now that foreclosures are just starting to ramp back up again, now's the time you want to reach back out to those expired short sale and expired pre-foreclosure listings. If you're a licensed agent, you could do this through the MLS. I personally do it through PropStream.
What category is that in PropStream?
I'll show you right now exactly what I do. This is how I do it. Go into PropStream. I'll just use Montgomery County. Oh, actually, I'll use Cook County because they have tons of pre-foreclosures. Cook County IL. You want to go to filter. you go to MLS status. All right. So you already filtered pre-foreclosures. Boom. You go to MLS status and you change it to failed. That's what you're doing.
Ah,
Failed listings. Now you want to make sure the date is aligned because they'll pull failed listings from like, the Stone Ages. So you want to make sure, you're going back. We're going to go back from 2019. And I got to move this around. Come back from 2019, let's say, up until now. And then here's what you want to do. Keyword, short sale. Bang. That's what you want to do.
awesome.
All right. Now, the list is going to be super small. Sean, I think you tried doing this with your team, right? Did you? Yeah. You're muted.
Yes, absolutely, we did. Based on we, took your full for pre-foreclosure marketing campaign, that shared with your group a month or two ago, and we fully went on that in New Jersey, and people in New Jersey are just weird. And because they, their pre-foreclosure could extend well over 1,000 days here in Jersey if they know how to game the system a little bit.
Right.
So.
Okay. But it did pull a list though. You were able to find people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we all of your searches and stuff like that. We built all those lists for sure.
Yeah. So it's really effective, guys, because again, it's one of those little things. It's like the modifications. You're not going to build tens of thousands of people. They're small niche lists, but they're very effective because the people you're reaching out to in this case, for a fact that they needed to sell at one point. And that they were in a short sale situation. And you could do the same thing by just narrowing down pre-foreclosures. So these are just little things.
It's a great hack for sure.
Yeah. Your competition's not doing this. Does anybody want me to go over anything or you have?
Yeah, I'd love for you to load up PropStream and go to North Carolina and get your viewpoint on the lack of numbers that are showing.
Lack of pre-foreclosures. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, the lists were totally minuscule, really, really small.
You know what? Those non-judicial states sometimes are tough because it moves so fast. Sean. You know what I'm saying? They move so fast through the process.
Yeah, that's the sense that Andrea, my list manager, and I got when we were building the lists.
Yeah.
Is in non-judicial states like that. So maybe the answer to my question is that in non-judicial states it's not the best lead category to work.
I mean, I don't want to say that either because I could pull some California lists. Cali's non-judicial and Texas too. There's some monster pre-foreclosure lists there too. I mean, North Carolina is a small state. I'm gonna pull it up in a second. I just want to make sure, guys, on this failed short sale list, the expired short sales, does it make sense? Do you have any questions on how I maneuver it or anything or anything? Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I thought it was very clear and straightforward.
Okay. All right. Sean, I am gonna do that. I'm gonna pull that up for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't. Sure, great.
Yeah, I just want to
talk you can finish going through the slides, but I would definitely be interested in your perspective on that.
Yeah, guys, and then the final one I just wanted to mention was the phone prospecting. It's super simple. Just the way that I prospect to pre-foreclosure leads is different than other leads is the point I want to drive home here with you guys. I don't believe in using a hard sales script, a hard rigid sales script. The last thing on earth somebody in a pre-foreclosure process wants to know is, that you're an investor trying to take advantage and profit from their situation. So I don't believe in the typical sales guru script, that rigid script. I think when you and your team call up these leads, it's best to be conversational, let them do most of the talking, just let them know they're talking to a human that's going to try to help them out. So you guys do any phone prospecting? You guys with your teams? I know you do, Sean. Does anybody? Yeah, Keith, you do too?
Keith's part of my team.
Oh, You're doing it then, Keith. Anybody else working the phones? I'm curious, like with like VAs or yourself.
Oh, yeah, my VA is calling people pre-foreclosure.
Okay. Okay. All right. Oh, and then
So Bob, just before we move on from the
Yeah.
calling, again, we're just starting to really dig our teeth in, and we have not yet, we have not gone after pre-foreclosures in North Carolina because of, the lack of leads that, we saw in PropStream. But yeah, here in Jersey, what we experienced, people in Jersey are, I live in Jersey, but we're people in Jersey are definitely funny when they're in pre-foreclosure. They, for the most part, and we definitely did the numbers, from phone calling to even door knocking, and door knocking can work amazing in other states for pre-foreclosures. I'm part of a national network of investors, and it's one of the top 3 lead gen sources, door knocking, specifically for pre-foreclosures.
Yeah.
So again, it depends on the state and the psychology of people, but people here in Jersey don't like answering their door. And if they do, they like to shut it pretty quickly too. Keith did a bunch of door knocking, and he's got some good stories about that.
You mean they didn't welcome you with open arms, Keith? Get out. Jersey? I don't believe it.
Keith, you're muted if you were talking.
I did have one older guy that was thrilled to talk to me and didn't realize he was 90 years old. Never would have guessed it. He looked like he was in his 60s, and things were going very well until his children got involved and wanted no part of anything.
Yeah. Guys,
That house is still in pre-foreclosure.
Yeah. Anything else on the phone prospecting, guys? Could I answer any questions or how like I approach it or anything at all?
Yeah, you don't believe in
Yeah.
texting at all, do you?
Say that again, Ted.
You don't believe in texting, do you?
So God, that's been a nightmare for me. So, you know what? Let's actually bring up that. So I was texting for a while with awesome success. The phone carriers, and Sean, I know you do a lot of texting, so you could back me up here. The phone carriers are blocking it.
Yes.
So what I've been doing, here's a little tidbit, actually. I don't know why I didn't include this. I should have. What I've been doing with the text that actually works is instead of doing it through my REI reply, the text blasting.
1 second, please.
I have my VA
1 second, please.
doing it through my phone.com app. I have my VA doing it manually, and I have her wait 3 minutes in between each text. And so far, so good. I'm probably jinxing myself. She's probably getting blocked as we speak because I'm jinxing it. But right now, like the carriers, for some reason, I don't know why, they're not blocking it. So it takes a hell of a lot longer. It's not as efficient. It's more expensive, all that, but it consistently gets the text through. So,
you know what, I was just going to try because I run into that blocking as well with FreedomSoft. They actually are TCMPA compliant or whatever. So they will block the number. They want to be conforming to the legal standards that if you're less than 10% more than 10% failure, then they will block you for 24 hours.
yeah.
So what I just thought of today was using my Google Voice phone number to make a text message, and I can actually put multiple phone numbers with the same message in Google Voice and send it that way.
But the issue, so Google Voice works and it's free. The problem I've had in the past with Google Voice is, one, if you're inactive, they'll just poach your number. But number two is because it's free, you could get blocked. What I found was if you're sending mass text messages off of it, they're just going to shut it down. I mean, that's what happened to me. They actually shut me down for making too many calls. So,
yeah, way back we used Google Voice as well, and we ran into that issue as well. Like sometimes we're just doing normal business and they blocked us because we were making a lot of calls or something. We weren't even doing any.
Yeah. So, yeah, same thing. Anything else on the phones, guys?
Just gonna ask,
Yeah.
what's actually working? Which one do you guys prefer? But I mean, I guess it's
All of
actually
these.
trial and
Edwin.
error.
Edwidge, these 4 things that I just threw these slides together, this is like stuff that's working in my business. This isn't like random stuff. This is like what's working for me right now. And then guess what? We could do another Zoom a month from now and I might remove one and add something new. Like it's always changing. But right now, this is the stuff where I'm getting deals. I'm getting deals for mortgage modifications. I'm getting deals off of failed short sale listings. And I'm getting deals off of phone and email pre-foreclosures. Now, the email is interesting, guys, because so I tested email pre-foreclosures versus emailing like normal sellers that aren't in pre-foreclosure. I have virtually no success emailing sellers that aren't in pre-foreclosure. For some reason, my response rate on the pre-foreclosure ones, I've gotten a couple deals from it. What I don't like about it is it's such a numbers game. I mean, you have to literally send like thousands of emails out to get a deal. But, you know, what I like about it, I wouldn't just focus on emails, but if let's say you're phone prospecting to a list, let's say you have a list of 10,000 pre-foreclosures, I don't know, 10,000. You want to add, and you're having your VA's phone prospect or your phone prospecting, adding email on top of that is just a better way to reach, scrub that list. You know what I'm saying? Like you could create, maybe you have 10,000 leads and you could call, email, and text the same exact list. So if calling them and they're not picking up the phone, or maybe the phone number is incorrect from your skip trace, well, then you might be able to reach that same prospect via email. That's where email, I think, is really powerful in the pre-foreclosures. Like I said, I've gotten like pretty profitable pre-foreclosure deals just from emails. And it's not expensive and it's real easy to scale. So
let me ask another silly question. Thank you for answering, Bob.
Yeah. Man.
So for pre-foreclosure or loan modification, right? For door knocking, what do you say when you just go and door knock on somebody? You be like, "Hey, my name is Bob or Edwidge. I'm here to buy your house."
I wouldn't door knock. Yeah, go ahead, Sean. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a script that I can send you, Edwidge. Really well-defined script that's been tested by investors that are being successful for that. So I'll put in the chat my email, Edwidge, and just email me, and I'll send you that.
Thanks for that, Sean. I'd actually like to see that too, Sean. Sure. I'm gonna email you for that too. That's awesome.
Yep.
The approach is the same thing you were talking about, Bob. You're not there to buy the house. You're there to help.
Yeah.
And you're giving yourself as a fallback position.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Maybe we'll do a Zoom for the Facebook group one of these days, just on door knocking. That'd be sick, just to open up that can of worms, That'd be sick too. Maybe we'll do that.
Yeah. Again, it's a top lead generator. It's got to be done consistently. The consistency is key. And you need to be in a state where people are friendly. That's important too.
Stick to the South.
Yeah, South. Yeah, I mean, now that we've switched, are doing most of our prospect in North Carolina, our calling team, people are much more friendly there and conversational than here in Jersey.
Yeah. So just to finish up on the emails, guys, one thing I'll tell you with the pre-foreclosures, what works for me is keep everything short and sweet, especially the subject line. People I know, even I've read articles before of people who, talk about cold email prospecting and say it's all in the subject line. You got to have this hook. I get it. They're probably right. I mean, maybe they know overall more, hell of a lot more than I do about it. But what I'll tell you specifically with the pre-foreclosures, I've had success just keeping everything short, simple, and to the point. With the subject line, my favorite thing to do is to copy and paste their address, and that's it. Not even the full address, not even the city and the state. So if the property is 123 Main Street, Dallas, Texas, I am copy and pasting in the subject line 123 Main Street. That's it. Because what I found is it piques their curiosity. They have no idea who I am. They have no idea what I want to talk about. All they know is, hey, this, Bob guy wants something with my property, and curiosity is going to have them open the email just to see what the hell you want. So you're going to have a higher open rate, I found, emailing pre-foreclosure list by just being very short with the subject line.
Perfect.
And then the body of the email, same thing. I know I was on another Zoom earlier today, and it was an agent that does email prospecting in the New York market in Queens. And she was saying that she likes to send emails, and she's probably not wrong, whatever works for you. She likes to send emails to probate lists, very, very long, drawn out. Listen, I'm sorry for your situation, all that stuff. And maybe that works. You could try that with pre-foreclosures. You could split test it. But what I found, people are getting bombarded by their lender. They're getting notices in the mail, posted on their door. They're sick and tired of people reaching out about their property. So what I found is I like to be polite, but I like to get to the point and say, hey, this is who I am. This is how I can help you. So do what works for you, but that's what works for me. And then obviously you want to, you want to scale it out with, you want to scale it out using SendGrid, REI reply. I actually got SendGrid from Sean, which I appreciate because
Awesome.
I
Glad
was
that's
REI
working for you.
reply. Yeah. SendGrid, I had it integrated with REI reply, like you said, and now I can send unlimited emails.
What is SendGrid?
It's
Sean.
a bulk email sending platform. I mean, they do more than that, but basically, and you need to, go through a bunch of hoops in signing up so that they verify you. But once they do, and then you got to go through a few other hoops of improving like your or establishing a reputation on your email address.
Yeah.
And then they go through pretty darn well.
Yeah.
Is it true that you shouldn't have ted@gmail.com? You want to use your website
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, but having said that, for example, the one of the names that we email out was Swift Home Buyers is the name of our company. So the email address that we send out, prospecting emails will be swifthomebuyers.email, not .co, which is our website address, so that we don't ever, if something goes wrong, that it won't affect our primary URL for our website. So just be aware of that. I would do something like that because, just get another extension. If you got a .com extension on your company website, just buy a .co or .email and then do all of your email prospecting from not your primary domain to your website. That would be my recommendation.
Excellent. Okay, good.
Anything else on the emails, guys? Any questions, any input? All right, cool. This is how you can keep in touch with me, obviously, through the Facebook group and then my YouTube channel. So if you want, I post a lot of shorts, really, really short clips, 15, 30, 60-second clips on pre-foreclosure lead gen, real estate news, all that stuff. So if you want to keep up with that, follow my YouTube channel. And then everyone here is in the group, so we could all stay in touch and communicate. I want to do a lot more of these Zooms, like these interactive Zooms. I think, just so you could see what I'm doing that's working. I could learn from you. We could, and we could all get value from it. So
cool.
So what states are you actively prospecting in, Bob?
So Jersey, and you're right about everything you said about it. New York, we're starting to move into New York, the 5 boroughs, because keep in mind, so I do regular deals, high equity deals too, but like my main focus, our main niche is short sales. So we're looking for the underwater properties. So we prospect a lot in Cook County, Illinois, lots of short sales there, lots of pre-foreclosure. I mean, they have the highest pre-foreclosure numbers in the entire country out of any county.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do we know what's the economic forces that are driving that in that area?
I ask every contact I have from that area and they don't know. I think a lot of it's like political. I mean, they have horrific leadership there. I mean, I don't know what it is. It's probably a little bit of everything. High crime.
Just curious.
Yeah, no. Yeah, but I'm targeting the 5 boroughs now, 2 of New York. We see a lot of short sales coming up there. Long Island. We do a lot in the South. I get a lot of referrals in the South. Yeah, much that's it. I'd like to hit the West Coast too. I want to move to California, so I'd like to build that up as well this year. But right now, a lot of East Coast and down South, we do a lot of short sales.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Does anybody want me to research their market, see what kind of pre-foreclosure action? I know you do, Sean, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your county that you're targeting?
All right. Let's get the county list here. All right. Let's do the largest county, or the easiest to spell county, Wake County. Raleigh's in Wake County. Charlotte, the largest, is in Mecklenburg. So just Wake County.
His is 173. See, okay. I noticed something right off the bat. In these non-judicial states, because they're rushed through so fast, a lot of times you guys are going to see either 0 auctions, or sometimes you'll see the opposite. Sometimes you'll go on and there's more auction properties than there are pre-foreclosures. Be aware of that because they get rushed through so fast. So, I mean, man, I don't know. It's just tough because it moves so fast. There just might not be a ton. And also the populations of counties too. Wake is the largest county, right? Yeah. How many people are in Wake County?
I thought, what's it called?
Yeah.
I'd have to look that up, but
Okay.
again, the
One thing, the
county we're doing, try Mecklenburg, Mecklenburg County. That's the largest Charlotte, where Charlotte is.
217. The only thing I could think about doing with these numbers is you want to make a list and just hit them all. I would just hit them all, not even do county by county. That's what I do in some of the smaller states. Like that's what I do in Jersey. I just create a spreadsheet. I'll show it to you. I just create a spreadsheet. And I just tally up every single county, and that's it. And just do it like that. I mean, yeah, there just might not be a lot of.
So do you think there's another source of data that may be able to get the notice of defaults? I mean, that's public information in every state, correct? Or is that not the case?
Public information in every state, but it actually comes from the county levels. I know investors but you're not local there. So, you're gonna have to get somebody on the ground to do this. A lot of investors pull from, I was actually talking to a guy from Detroit that does this. He has success. He goes right down to the county courthouse. So then he pulls the information before sites like PropStream get them right from the courthouse.
Got it.
That's the only other way I know to do that.
Okay.
Does anybody else? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I guess, we'll give it a go because these people do need help. And it seems like in North Carolina, they don't have a long period of time to get help. We'll just do the whole state, not just counties. But then again, in general, we're wholesaling. We're also going to, be acquiring in North Carolina. But when it's just on the whole state, one thing we've noticed too, several of the leads that Keith has been working on this week in North Carolina, just because we in the initial lists that we developed as we were getting started in that state, we did not specifically focus on the high investor interest zip codes. We just did the whole counties.
Yeah.
And Keith has talked to someone like in the middle of nowhere, you can't even get any comps. So
I know
you need to be targeted.
You have to be. I know it's not perfect, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's tough if you can't get comps. Yeah.
So anyway, just putting that out there. That's our experience that you got to be focused, and in regard to just doing the whole state and pre-foreclosures and calling those, because we need to make sure that
you could
as much as possible that
you could wholesale
it's that's an area that is good to buy.
Right, I get it. I get it.
Yep.
Anybody else have a county you want me to pull, check out? We'll discuss the pre-foreclosures there.
Actually, Marion County in Indiana.
Ooh, there's barely any, I bet you there. That's a small county.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot in Indiana, but let's see. Oh, way more than I thought. Shit. Wow. Yeah, there's over 500 plus 64 auctions. That's not a huge list.
Bob, I have another meeting to get to. Thank you very
All right,
much.
bye.
Enjoy the holidays, and
Merry Christmas.
thank you, Keith, for jumping in. Talk to you tomorrow.
Later, Sean. Merry Christmas.
Okay, bye bye.
Thanks.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks, everyone. Ciao.
Merry Christmas.
Bye, Sean. Bye-bye.
So, I know you guys gotta go. You probably going ready to get off, Bob. I just have a last question, maybe one or two more. For these short sale, right? What exactly do you do with them? Do you wholesale them? Do you keep them? And also, as a realtor, as you stated earlier, realtors normally kind of like pass by these type of deals because they don't have enough equity. Why would you wholesale them to an end buyer when these deal does not have enough equity in them?
So a short sale cannot be wholesaled in the traditional manner, like a typical wholesale deal. You can't get it under contract and assign it because, like you just said, there's not enough equity. So there's different exit strategies we use when, when we actually want to wholesale the deal, but assigning them is not one of them. With a short sale, you have to complete, short sales are ass backwards. You have to complete the short sale. You have to get approval from the bank, and then you could do your exit strategy, whatever it is. So to answer your question on what my company does, we have two methods. We either A, come in as the buyer, purchase it ourselves, and then resell it, wholesale it, flip it, whatever. Or method number two is we're the third party short sale processor, and then we just get a fee on the HUD. Those are our specific exit strategies. But as a wholesaler, there's nothing you could do with those leads. Like I know Keith and Sean, I'm working on definitely one, maybe even two short sale leads that I got from them because it doesn't fit their business model. Because right, Keith, your guys' traditional model is to get a
Yeah, you got that one in Gloucester City.
Yeah, the nightmare one, but whatever. We'll talk about that one later.
That's why we gave it to you. We were done with it. We played with it for a while.
Yeah, but they sent me that deal because it's a short sale and there's nothing they could do with it. It's a dead lead for them. So now I'm going to do it and I'm going to share the equity that I make with them at the end of the deal. That's how, Yeah.
I'm sorry for because I'm really new to short sale. I
You're
don't
good,
really know much about
no one
short
knows
sale.
about short sales. It's a tiny little niche, so there's no dumb questions.
So why would you put a property under contract? Now I feel like the newbie. So why would you put on a property under contract if it does not have equity? And how would you even flip the property if it doesn't have enough equity in it? How do you even move this property? How would you even flip this property to make a profit out of it if it does not have equity in it?
That's a great question. That's actually a tremendous question. Once the short sale process is complete, the bank releases the lien from the property, and that creates the equity. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say we have a deal where the property is worth $300,000 as is. Okay. It's worth 300K on the market, but the seller owes 400. They are upside down. They have negative equity. You can't, if you're trying to wholesale that deal, or if you're trying to list it on the MLS, there's nothing you could do. No one could buy that. So what I would do, my company, is take it through the short sale process. If we get it approved, the bank removes that 400K loan. They forgive that loan. So now the property is freed up to sell. Make sense?
Perfect sense to me.
Cool.
But you buy it for 300?
In that example, yeah. So in a short sale, maybe I should do a Zoom on short sales, like just like the
Yeah.
short sale basics. Would you guys want me to do that?
I think you
That's
should.
worthwhile. I was always curious what you were doing with the properties once we handed them off to you. I
Yeah,
was like,
you
I don't
know,
know what he's doing that he's making money on this.
everyone asks that. They're like, why do you want this lead?
Well, people that specialize, that get a niche,
That's
you know.
it. That's all it is a niche. Wait, because I don't want to ignore that question. Ted, you just asked the question. Would I buy it for 3?
Yeah,
I would buy it for, okay, so in the short sale process, the bank hires a third-party appraiser or a BPO agent.
right.
That BPO agent or appraiser comes and values the property. Whatever that value comes back at, the bank is going to want somewhere around that number, depending on the loan type.
Right.
So I just use 300 to like make the numbers easy. So yeah, in that case, I would buy it for 3 and then resell it, or, you know, whatever we want to do with it.
Now, can't you also, if the property is worth 300 from the BPO, I guess, but there's, I was thinking lease option for a tenant buyer to step in and they see the value of the house and you can make whatever price you want to, maybe 320 or 325. And over time, it will build equity on its own.
Well,
I
the
don't know.
problem with a lease option in a short sale. So now look, a lease option could work if they're current on their payments. But if it's a qualified short sale deal, most of the time a lease option is not going to work, because in order to do the lease option, you have to cover all the back payments. You have to bring
Yeah,
that.
same thing with a pre-foreclosure.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, a lease option could work. Let's say they're like a month or 2 behind, a couple $1,000, it might work.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, Bob, how many short sales do you actually end up doing where the home doesn't need work?
A good amount, actually, more than you'd think. Most of them I'd say need work, but a good amount don't. And that's why, like I said before, when Edwidge asked, you know, what are our exit strategies? One of them is the investor. Our other exit strategy is set up to still help the homeowner in a retail property situation if it's a pretty property. So
Gotcha.
we'll just act as a complete third party. And then once the property's sold, we just get a third party fee on the HUD. So that happens quite a bit.
Gotcha.
Especially, Keith, you actually brought up a good point, because guess what? You guys are going to be seeing that, and I'm going to be seeing that a lot in these next coming years, these pretty properties that go in a short sale, because a lot of people that got into these bidding wars in these past 2 years, they're buying, their first-time home buyers buying with VA and FHA loans that, you know, so they're overpaying for these properties, number one. And then on top of that, they have very high LTVs. So
And the other plus for the pre-foreclosures is most of them were bought with interest rates that are like 3.5%.
yeah. Scott just asked a question. Let's see. The bank releases deficiency. That is correct, Scott. I didn't see you said that before. Then fight like hell to get a lower appraisal. What is your average repair? What is your average repair per square foot? What do you mean by that? Could you elaborate a little bit, Scott? So I can answer that.
I think he's looking for rehab cost. What's it breaking down to, you know, depending on what work needs to be done.
When you
I know
buy-
when we're doing,
go ahead.
when we're talking to leads and we're trying to figure out what the cost of rehab is without going to the property, based on what the description is, you know, if it looks like it's a full gut, maybe it's $55 a square foot. If it looks like it's a mid-level one, maybe it's $25 a square foot.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you're asking on the back end then, I guess, Scott. So yeah, I mean, that all depends on the property. Yeah. It doesn't matter that it's a short sale, because once we buy it, the short sale's over, the lien's released. So that all depends. And we do short sales across so many markets that I'll be honest with you, man, most of the time we're just looking to do more of like a wholesale or like a wholesale type of deal. Now that's even complicated because there's deed restrictions that prevent us from reselling it. You know, there's different ways we have to maneuver, but yeah, that all depends on the property. And recently, I mean, this past year, every short sale we've done, we haven't done any work to the properties. So now we get contractors' estimates and inspections on every one, but I don't know what the average cost of square foot, because again, it's just across too many markets for me to say like an average. I don't know. Yeah. Does anybody else have questions or anything? Input questions? Guys, so like, was this helpful? This is the first one I'm doing in the group. I'm gonna do a Facebook post. You guys please comment on it and let me know what you guys want me to talk about, like what you will benefit from on these Zoom calls. Like if you want me to do one just on short sales, or like I'll literally do one on whatever. So comment on the post in the group and let me know.
I have a 2-word review for this Zoom call. Awesome.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I thought it was gonna be, a curse word, 2 words. No, I'm just kidding. I appreciate that. I'm glad that you guys found value in it. Has anyone talked about loss mitigation firms? Loss mitigation firm. You mean like mortgage mod companies, you mean? Or like law firms you're talking about? Wait for NOD processors. Scott, are you talking about law firms, in other words? Like, is that who you're talking about? Because I've never heard of an NOD processor. On the bank's end, there's NOD processors. Away from it, not all our law firms. Yes, bank. Interesting. I'd be interested to know. I've never heard of a NOD processing company that's not a bank, that's not a law firm that actually represents a bank. Yeah, man, I don't know. I'm interested to learn about it though. There's like more, there's mortgage servicers, obviously, but I don't think that's what you're talking about. Interesting. I ran into one that has a few states. I'd be interested to learn about that, man. That's it's really interesting. I've never heard about it. Does anybody have any questions or anything for me? We could fold it up. Any suggestions, feedback, anything I could do better or add, anything? Everybody cool. Scott said, I'll get it for you when I am back in the state. Cool. Yeah, please. Please do. Please do. I'm interested in that. Well, all right, guys, I'm going to end it here. Like I said, I'm going to post in the group suggestions on the topics you want to do Zooms about, like these interactive Zooms, and we could all learn from each other. And, you could pick my brain, I'll pick yours. And yeah, please comment on that and let me know. Let me know anything you would rather me do, like improvements on these, and then let me know the topics you guys want to talk about.
Hey, Bob, how can I get a copy of this Zoom recorded?
I forgot I recorded it for you. I'll just email it to you. I'll email it to you.
Thank you. You have my email, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere in the database.
Yeah, man.
All to the people that are on this conference.
What's that?
Oh, email to everybody that's on this.
I
Zoom
will.
call.
I will. Yeah. I'll do it. I'll either share it in the group or I'll email one or the other. Everybody here is in the group. So
Perfect.
And then Scott just said YouTube. So if you're plugging my YouTube, I appreciate it. Yep. Follow me on YouTube. But all right, guys, everybody have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. Thanks for joining me on this. I hope it was beneficial to you. And, I know it was for me.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was fantastic. Thanks.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Everybody have a great Christmas.
You too.
Everybody be safe.
Take
Later.
care. Bye-bye.